When it comes to choosing ground bait for commercial fisheries, there's an awful lot available, different types, different flavours, different colours, you name it. So as you can see in front of me, I've got 3 different ground baits. So what I'm going to do now is run through the ground baits and why I like to use them. We'll start off with the Amino original ground bait. Now it's a ground bait I've used for a lot of years, so I've got a lot of confidence in, but as you can see, the colour of it, it's almost like a pellet colour, so I think the fish feel really safe to feed over it. I know for a fact they like eating it because there's a lot of crushed pellets in there. So if you're unsure, this is my sort of go-to mix because I know the fish like it and they eat it, so that's why I like to use that. Then we come on to the marine halibut ground bait. Now, to me, you've got to have some sort of ground bait like the marine halibut pellet because it's a lot heavier and stickier mix than, say, the Amino original ground bait. So when you're fishing for big carp in the margins, i.e. somewhere like Larford Match Lake or the Glebe, where they can be quite hard to catch down the edge, you need something heavy to keep them pinned down over your feed. If you fish too light a ground bait, they tend to waft it all over the place and you can get foul lookers and they can be a nightmare to catch. So having something like that, heavier ground bait, I think is a bit of a must. Then we come on to the green swim stem ground bait. Now again, I've used this mix for years, I've got a lot of confidence in it, but now for me, when I come to using this mix, I'm looking at the watercolour. So when the watercolour sort of has a green sort of tinge in it, sort of that algae colour, then I think by adding some green swim stem with some of these mixes is a perfect combination. I think the fish feel a bit more safer to feed over it, and I think by matching the watercolour is never far wrong, so that's why I like to use a green swim stem. As I've just mentioned, I like to use the green with either the Amino original or the marine halibut. Now when I'm going for somewhere it's smaller carp and F1s, and I've got that watercolour, sort of that greeny tinge like I just spoke about, then I'd just like to mix these two 50-50. Now again, because there's a lot of crushed pellets in there, I know it's going to be a safe bet when I go to them fisheries. I know the fish are going to eat it, so I simply mix them two 50-50 and you're good to go. Now when I mix the marine halibut with it is, again, when I've got that colour, but obviously with the marine halibut being a lot heavier and stickier, it's going to be a lot heavier, so when you're fishing for carp it's going to be a lot better combination with them two rather than using the Amino original. So that's my 3 choices of ground bait. Have a bit of a think about it and see what you think. So tight lines,